7 o'clock, shall we start pledge allegiance? Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Poland. Here. Hofstadter.
Here.
Shoemaker.
Here.
Khan.
Here.
Hoffy. Here. Vaughn.
Here.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Any visitors that wish to address council tonight, we're going to ask you to please step up to the microphone, state your name for the record. First thing on the agenda, we have Eric Vinson from CHM Capital, who owns the trailer park just south of town across from Dollar General. Sir, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate you guys putting me up first, considering I have a bit of a drive. Yeah, my name is Eric Vinson, and I'm with CMH Capital, and we do own the park here in Millersburg. And I know that we've had a few cosmetic and potentially safety issues going on there, and it's not uncommon on turnaround parks. And I think that we've been working well together with the city council and with Bob Hines in order to get some of these things cleaned up. And for the most part, all of the safety issues, I would say, have been pretty well taken care of. There's still a couple items that I'm sure that Bob and the rest of the team here would like to see done before the end of the year, and we're going to endeavor to do that. But I guess, while I'm here, I had a moment every time. I want to let everybody know that our intentions, yes, it's a business and we do expect to make money on this, but, it's not like a normal business. We're talking about people in their houses and stuff, and just where they live, and you know what I mean? You can't, so there's a little bit of nuance there, and what we're trying to do is create a space where, there's affordable housing for folks that need it, and based on, what we have, what we can do with it, providing a decent quality of life to the best of our ability. Does that make sense to everybody? So that's our overarching goal anytime that, our group buys a mobile home park or an RV park or whatever it is, it's to make it look nicer, it's to make it create value, and, it's already something that's in people's communities, and we generally, when we buy and do these things, so the idea is to do the best we can with it, and that's what we're trying to do here. And I will stop sucking the air out of the room with that, because I'm not sure what the protocol is. Do you guys have questions for me, or is there anything that you guys maybe have been wanting to say to someone that's owned that place for quite some time?
I'll say within the last week, I've seen more junk cleaned up than before.
Yeah. I appreciate you noticing. It's kind of hard not to notice things when you're driving by the park every time you go to the dollar store or the grocery store or whatever, or maybe if you're next door playing pickleball or something. I can see the list of complaints that I received are 100% legitimate, and I don't think everybody's pushing back on any of them at all. So we're doing what we can based on, funding, obviously. You can only go as fast as you walk, kind of thing. So, but that's kind of how we're balancing our progress there.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Just what we sharing though. So, I'm Andrea Kellogg. I'm a village council-elect, so I'll be in January. It's nice to meet you. So my question is, there was a fire down there recently. My concern is, when these trailers are abandoned, and then is there a way that they can be locked up so that nobody can go into those trailers? And is there a way that the police department or somebody down there can make sure that if somebody does go into one of the trailers, that there can be criminal trespass for that? Because I live 3 blocks up, and so it is concerning.
Sure.
So that is something that I think needs to be addressed, the abandoned trailers.
I appreciate that. Thank you for bringing that up. And to address that, I can say that we try to make sure that the homes are secured, any home, so that people can't come in and out as they please. If someone wants to get into a trailer, they're going to get into the trailer. So it's kind of incumbent on our management, our park management, and local police to be able to. It's hard to find. It's hard to do these. It's difficult to catch somebody in the act of breaking into a home. You generally see the evidence of it afterwards, right? Like in the case of the fire over here, you're right, abandoned trailers are a problem for us, and that wasn't an abandoned trailer, that was a home that someone lived in, that was deemed arson, and, the investigation has now come to a fruition, so we're free now, unencumbered to tear that down and get rid of it. But again, I can only move as fast as our funding will allow us to. We just tore 2 homes down, and that got wrapped up, I think November 9th, you know, and like I was kind of explaining to these guys, you know, we get half down on these jobs, and then there's gonna come a moment here very quickly where I gotta pay the rest of that invoice, and it's not cheap, right? So, you know, one thing at a time. The fire home, just to kind of maybe ease your mind a little bit, has moved to the very top of our priority list. It's the next order of business to, you know what I mean, to like put any money into over there would be to get that cleaned up, right? First of all, it's right in front of the park out in Washington, so we can all see it when we drive by. And it's still kind of an open structure. I took a look at it while after you all left to just kind of see what we're dealing with there. And you know, that's going to be one of those tougher ones to be able to board up and secure based on all the fire damage and just the ability to come in and out. So we share the same concerns as you, right? Because we don't want anything bad happening to any of our uninhabited trailers. Like, there's a fine line between abandoned and uninhabited, right? From what some people might see as an abandoned home that probably should be torn down, we might see something different. Like it might just be a few $1,000s in a paint job, you know what I mean? And then that might be something that we could provide a home for a family instead of tearing it down, getting it out of there, and bringing another one in. So those are things that we kind of determine on a case-by-case basis. But so to just kind of shorten up my answer here, that would be the next item on for us.
So your company owns that trailer? That burned?
I believe so. I believe so, but I don't know every tenant and what, some of them own their own homes, sir, and some of them we own.
I'm gonna
Like
say,
rentals.
when insurance would kick in somehow or other?
So, you know, if, maybe, I would have to check I don't really know the ins and outs of my own policy there, as far as how that would work, if it's even worth filing a claim, or if it's just worth getting the home out there. I believe that's one that we did own, if I'm not mistaken, because that was on our list of, violations. There was an abandoned car in front of it for quite some time, so I had to have that taken care of. But, yeah, so, you know, like generally speaking, some complaints that people might have on their homes or utilities, well, that's gonna be my responsibility if you rent that home from me, right? If you only rent the space from me and your air conditioner goes out, or, you know what I mean, you spring a water leak that's on your side of the water meter, I mean, that says a homeowner that would be, on you guys, on them to fix. So. Does that answer your question?
I guess so.
So Eric, I noticed there's a couple of abandoned trailers close to the trail. At least there were a couple weeks ago.
There still is. Yeah, they're still there.
And so I've got 2 questions for you. What are the plans for those trailers? And then as we're creeping up on winter and the weather's getting cold, what are your plans for the next couple months? And then I guess what do you plan to do when things start to break
So,
and weather gets nicer out?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Prior to the fire, I would say that what was priority number 1 would be to do something with that home that's out back by that trail, right? That's something that the former owner has had there for quite some time. Sounds like it's been a problem and people are tired of it, right? So that would have been, before the fire, probably the next thing that we would do as far as any demolition or any cleanup efforts, right? Of any kind of monetary significance, it would be that, right? The other home that is in question here is a home that we had hauled in and it is still on wheels, locked up, it's secure. That is a home that's viable to go on one of these sites. Okay, so at some point that would be, you know, the top priority, right? But a couple things need to fall off that priority list for that to go up. Does that make sense? Like say it's priority number 3 of the list of 3. Fire is number 1, home by the trail is number 2, setting the home on wheels is number 3, right? So, you know, cleaning up the fire home, you're talking probably $7,000 to $8,000 in costs, and that's for cleanup and removal. And then of course I still have to, it was about $10,000 to do the other two. I got a deal for doing two. My point is, it's about another $7,000 to $10,000 to set a mobile home on site, have it hooked up, skirted, utilities connected and everything. Are you with me? So it's gonna matter on funding, of course. It's always gonna be determining how fast I can move.
So where do they take those trailers that are junk? Where
do they take them?
do they take
I
them?
don't know,
What-
after
Okay.
we leave, yeah.
Okay.
I'm assuming they have scrap yards and, the hardest thing to remove is the frame, right? Because it's thick steel, it's got beams, it's welded together. Anybody can get a Bobcat, not trailer down and get all the structure off there, but, you gotta find somebody to come and take the steel. But sometimes there's scrappers out there occasionally that will swing through and just take their torches, cut it up into small pieces and get it out of there for you, and then they take it to the scrap and then they make some money on it and everybody's happy. Yeah, right,
So what are your plans for the next couple of months as the weather's starting to get colder out?
Right.
What are your plans for the spring?
So
That's what I
spring
want
would
to
be a
hear.
different story, I would think, because we can kind of recoup on some funding, let our coffers, I guess, so to speak, build back up, right? I can't put any new, items into action until I square up with the final invoices on what I've just recently finished. Does that make sense? Once I've paid the men that did the work for me, that it's tore out, and cleaned up the two homes that are there, then we can, figure out what is maybe coming in the following month. Of course, it depends on collections and, things of that nature. So I don't want to give you the wrong information, Mr. Khan. As much as I can, spring would be, cleanup effort. It's going to be park beautification. I'm hoping to have more residents in there by then. So in a perfect world, if I just spitballing you guys off the top of my head, and I'm sure when you guys read the minutes back and forth, so I'm sure you'll hold me to it since it's on record. But I'd like to see, ideally, you guys, in my mind, just for meeting with you guys, what I would like to see before end of January. This is just off the top of my head, right? And again, this is going to depend on funding. I'd like to see the burnt down home removed and gotten taken out of there. And at the very least, a plan of when we can approach the home that's out by the trail. Okay? That's what I'd like to see happen, right? And maybe simultaneously, if I can, lift up the mattress and find some extra money, maybe I can renovate a home, right? And this is while pushing evictions, which attorney costs, I'm sure you guys know, that's not cheap. I think emails cost me money with them. So, when we got 9 evictions coming up, so there's a few different things to consider before I can make any promises, right? We gotta pay the lawyers, gotta pay the guys, I've already done the work, but I would like to see the burnt down home removed before end of year, right? Sooner rather than later, you guys, but I don't want to, again, overpromise. And then I'd like to see the one that's, I keep hearing so much about, over by the trail that everybody hates. I'd like to see that one figured out too, so, yeah.
Okay. You said 9 evictions, did I hear you?
We have 9
say that
coming
right?
up,
Okay.
that's just this month, Mr. Khan, that's not
Okay.
including the ones that we did last month, so.
How many trailers are down there? I don't recall.
Maybe 70, I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe as far as spaces, like 70, I don't know, maybe 65 trailers, something like
Okay.
that. I think if all these evictions go through, I'll have 18 empty trailers there. Right, which is, it's a lot, right?
Yeah.
Some people might look at it and see a problem, right? Maybe some of you guys might drive by and look at that and see a problem, whereas, in the right hands, it's opportunity, you guys. Right, if this was someone maybe who only owned this mobile home park, and this was the piece of real estate that they own, and they didn't have in their portfolio 42 other parks just like it, right? Then I would have some concerns about someone's ability to actually make this push. And things don't always move as fast as that we would like, but they do move with us, you guys. So, so this is what we do, specifically is what I do, is build value where other people might not see value. So.
Thanks, Jared.
Any other questions for the gentleman?
I have a question for all of you. Is there grant money available to help them?
That's a great question.
Like I said, name your fellow. I've heard there could be next year. I've already done some asking. I don't know.
So personally, I actually reached out to, I think the land, is it the land bank, is that what they call it around here? And I spoke to a man who, thank you for asking that question.
I've asked already.
Yeah, I think the money's gone, from what I
Well,
understand.
no,
Yeah.
there's next year.
There's
there's
some,
a second round.
yeah, there is.
Yeah.
and-
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's some stipulations, it sounds like, I don't know how much tear down, I think it's specifically for tearing down homes is what that bank, that piggy bank was for. So it would depend on how many I still have left to tear down by the time that becomes available.
$100,000 available.
Is that just for?
It's round 2, it's
tear-
open
tear-
until
tear
March.
down? When does that open?
It's now called
Is
March.
that so
Yeah.
okay, so maybe we should look into that a little bit
How
too,
we
that way, yeah, because if there's money there, then we can put some serious dates on things, right? So, assuming that, you know.
Does that have to be applied?
See, I knew
Is that through the county,
Yeah.
That's
And
for
well,
the
it's through
county.
state. It's from the, it's
From the
from
state for the county?
So you go through Army.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
round 2. It's my story tomorrow if you listen to the news.
As far as like mobile homes, I did speak to someone who sounded like they knew what they were talking about. You know, the wheels have to be off of it. It has to be an actual anchored down physical. So I guess what I'm saying is the home that we have sitting back by the trail wouldn't apply for that. It wouldn't qualify for the stipulation because it's still on wheels technically. So you know, but you know, I can set it real quick. We can do the math. see? Yeah, but I'm open, you know, because like, I mean, honestly, in another perfect world, I see the roads, you know, something done with those. It's always expensive, and I hesitate to even bring that up in open meeting like this. Maybe I should be careful. But, you know, ideally, like, see the roads, you know, maybe sign and some landscaping, things to just kind of brighten it up. Simple things like we talked about paint something white that is rusty, it makes all the difference in the world. Not just to us driving by, but to the appraisers as well, you guys.
You can help us out by going to the county commissioners and asking them to start a land bank.
I feel like you're setting me up.
I am, I'm just, it's needed here,
Yeah,
but we haven't got that far.
yeah, I don't know how you push that kind of issue, so I'd be more than happy to, specifically if it helps. It helps. Yeah, so I hope I've shed a little bit of light or given you a little bit of window into us as a company, and what we try to do.
Bob, you had met with him earlier this evening. Are you
Yeah,
satisfied
yeah,
with the results of the
actually,
meeting? And
The mayor, Kelly, me, and Matt, also Keenan O'Connor, who's the manager down there, and his wife.
It's just been a big difference maker here.
Yeah, he seems like
He's doing a great job.
Good job, yeah. So yeah, we met, and I wanted you to meet him too, because I've been dealing with Eric since about August, and he seems to be a man of his word, and I think he's conveyed that to you tonight. And we want to work with him, not necessarily against him, but I also want him to put together some sort of a plan. Not that we're going to hold him to it to the day or anything like that, but some benchmarks that we can possibly hit. For instance, we talked about the 2 trailers that need to be demolished, the one being the arson trailer, and then the other one being the one that's back by the trail. You know, just the fact that he acknowledges that and he's, you know, saying he's going to prioritize that and he's going to do it. And it might not be in the next 6 months, but it's on the table. He said he's going to do it. He's been credible up to now, and I think you can see that. So that's why I thought it was important for him to meet all of you.
Any other questions?
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
so much.
I look forward to, you know, to making this a nice place for everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
awesome, well, thanks guys.
Thanks.
I'm gonna make my way out.
Hey, watch out for deer. Hey, watch out for deer on the way home.
Yeah, for sure, yeah,
Okay.
thanks man.
Do we have any other visitors who wish to address council this evening?
I reserve the right to address council at appropriate times.
Okay. No one else? Okay, maybe have a motion to suspend the reading of the minutes.
So moved.
A second.
Poland,
Aye.
Con,
Aye.
Hofstadter,
Aye.
Shoemaker,
Aye.
Coffee,
Aye.
Vaughn,
Any additions or corrections? May I have a motion to pass?
Make a motion to pass.
I'll second. Shoemaker.
Con,
Aye.
Shoemaker,
Aye.
Vaughn,
Aye.
Coffee,
Aye.
Hofstadter,
Aye.
Poland,
Aye.
Thank you. Bill Resolution 2023-26. Any questions on the bills this evening?
Nate, I saw we had engineering fees for our paving project. What does that mean?
They've been working on the plans, we just don't have them
Okay.
on yet.
I mean, will those still be valid if we do them next year then?
We can get them out over the winter for
Okay.
early spring
Okay.
start.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? May I have a motion to pay the bills?
I so move.
Second.
Coffee,
Aye.
Vaughn,
Aye.
Poland,
Aye.
Hofstadter,
Aye.
Shoemaker,
Aye.
Con,
Aye.
Thank you. Chief?
I don't know if you guys seen the post on Facebook. Last night we were involved in a pursuit, ended in the southwestern part of the county. In the process during the pursuit, one of the cruisers was crashed. The officer is fine, doesn't look as bad. He told me it was totaled. Obviously I'm not a mechanic, so it doesn't look that bad. So we're waiting on an estimate from Village. I'm also gonna check with, Collision Auto Works, I think is the name up in Holmesville. Village gave me the date of the end of December before the cruiser would be fixed. I don't know if Holmesville will do any better. The issue is it's not drivable, the radiator's trash, so that's an issue. It's at our garage now, so we need to be able to have it get somewhere and stay somewhere, not overly fond of leaving it at somebody's garage for several months. So I'm working on that. Update on the new cruiser. Since our last meeting, I talked to the upfitter company, and right now I'm penciled in for the first week of February before they will get to my cruiser. They said don't set that in stone, however, that's where they are. They're suffering from when Ford dumped all the cruisers on all the dealers and they got shipped out, everybody pretty much got their cruisers at the same time. It kind of overloaded the system, so I'm gonna get a hold of them and see if there's any way we can get bumped up. But when I talked to him, he said it's pretty steady. He's actually been a salesman for quite a few years. I know he dealt with Tom. He's actually been helping with installs because like everybody else in the world, they're short-staffed and trying to get their stuff done. So that's the updates on our cruisers. And we'll go from there. I have a question for Mr. Shoemaker. Your parade, you're saying that clause thing. Do you know how many units you're gonna have in this yet?
Right around 30.
Is it just like first responder traffic or what all?
Gonna have high school, the band,
Okay.
dancers.
Well, we're gonna do an escort.
Right,
We're
no,
gonna take them from the school to the Legion.
right.
Get them through the intersections.
Yep.
So just let everybody know that's what the plan is.
Yeah.
And that's all I have.
Condition of the officer?
He's fine. No injuries.
Thank you. Nate?
All right. The Design Review Board met 2 weeks ago now. Approved the Eagles applications for their deck and cooler work in the rear of the building. And then Planning and Zoning recommended approval of a change of zoning district for 177 St. Clair. That's from an R3 to an SU zoning district to allow for construction of the triplex. Next step in that process is a public hearing. And not to jump the agenda, I see it under the mayor's portion to establish the last meeting date in December, but that's the earliest we could hold this public hearing if you so desire. It's currently December 25th, and I don't know that everybody will be here for that.
We're on to change that meeting date.
Right. Do we want to set the public hearing for that, whatever that date is? Or
If they want to change, set the date now, that's fine.
set the date now and then,
27th, give everyone a day to relax or recoup from Christmas.
On Wednesday?
Public hearing at, I do 6:45 for this one.
Whatever you guys decide. $6:45?
6:45 is fine.
Sounds good.
Okay.
And the 27th is good with everybody.
We had sent out the proposed design review ordinance and guidelines. Was there any questions or concerns at this point?
We did discuss that at the design review board. We discussed some things that we talked about, paint samples and things, that it's not set in stone that those are the paint samples that are used. One of the things in the design review board is part of the job of the design review board is to make sure it's in that whole realm of historical. So it doesn't have to specifically be those paint chips, but something similar. That's what we discussed at this design review board meeting about
And the board
that.
retains the ability to make
Yes,
those determinations. It's not a prescriptive.
correct.
Okay.
So where is that going to be distributed to? Is the guidelines for that? So I guess what I'm thinking is, are local realtors going to be given that, so that when they sell a property, for example, if there's a business that they sell here in town, is that something they can give
Sure,
to the
it's all
buyer?
available online on
It's
our website.
online.
It's
On the
all- yeah.
website.
And, okay. Answered my question.
All right.
Thank you.
Rising Sun was able to continue work starting last week. They set the last manhole today. They've got another day or two of cleanup work, and then there's yet another 36-inch storm sewer that was found during this project that will need to be tied back into the new 60-inch. Waiting on some fittings for that. These fittings are about 3 weeks out, so they'll come back and tie that in and then be done with everything. So, learned a lot about that area of town. It's been interesting. The app that we've been working on, right now we're in the graphics stage where we're actually looking at the design of the app and pictures and graphics for the how it'll look to the users. We've gone through the administrative training. They need to finalize, once we give them our graphics selections, they'll need to do some finalization, and it sounds like in 2-3 weeks that thing can be live. So looking forward to getting that out. The Deer Run Park electrical project, we've got a meeting with AEP on site. We've got a work order. They're meeting us on Wednesday to look at the service installation. And then Millersburg Electric can begin their build out of the panel and scheduling the underground to get the electrics everywhere we want it to go. Met with Totally Outdoors. They're working on a quote for the turf that we talked about on the amphitheater tiers. Haven't got that back yet. Tree City plantings actually began today. They should get that wrapped up very soon. And then the last thing I have is we received the speed study results back for the South Clay Street portion of town. Based on that and all the discussions we've had with the known signage errors and confusion, I think at this point it might be wise to schedule a special meeting, call it a work session or whatever, full council, regular meeting, but at an earlier time. What I'd like to do is go through each state route, show you what the signs currently say. We have a map showing where each speed limit starts and stops. But I think we need to go through each state route, define our business district per ORC, and then also review the speed study. I'll send that out to you beforehand. Basically what they came back with is 30 miles an hour is the justification, or the recommended speed based on the counts and the speed data that was collected during the study. There's a couple different options. It's a little complicated, but roughly Quail Street up to just north of Newton, where the 25-mile-an-hour is now. They're recommending 30 miles an hour instead of, I don't know why I expected 35 or 25, but they came back at 30, which I guess makes sense. They take all the speed, or the traffic count data, and they plug it into the ODOT program, and it just spits out a number. There's no manipulating the numbers, so that's what it comes out to. So we'd also like to have David Hoffman from ODOT, invite him if he's able to be at that meeting. We'd really like him to be here as well. Go through, like I said, each state route, come up with what we have, what we want, make a decision on which option of this speed study we want, and then with his, have a formal adoption process or whatever needs to happen with ODOT, go forward with that. So I don't have a suggestion on dates. I'm open.
Nate, I talked to David Hoffman this afternoon, asked him if there are any dates when he couldn't make it, and he said the first week of December is bad for him.
Okay.
So you just want to schedule a council meeting? Or you want to do a separate day?
I guess we could do that. We could.
You think there's gonna be more discussion, it's gonna
Well,
take more than an hour?
there's another thing that Nate didn't mention that I've mentioned before. 83 north is a big issue that council's gonna have to decide what to do on the speed limits there. I don't know if an hour is enough time.
So I'm not sure either.
Just do another day then, at some other time?
I would like to, the reason I think that it either set aside more than an hour so that we can try to resolve it as much as we can, and with full council, because some of these speed limit, it's really a council decision,
Right.
and we sort of like to get a consensus so we know how to go forward.
What's the earliest people can meet?
I could do 5.
You could do 5.
Depends on how close to Christmas we get.
Well, if we do it the week after Thanksgiving, we just, maybe not on
Oh,
the
okay.
27th, but the 28th or 29th. Unless you want to do a special Saturday.
What's
So you're
that?
talking about doing it earlier?
Did you say Saturday? No.
Yeah,
No one commented on it.
I vote no on that too.
I got the sarcasm, but
She's talking about doing it on the 27th at like 5 or 5:30?
No, we'll just move it off of council night altogether. That way, if it takes longer, we're not pushed for time.
Or do we just want to push it to like the following Monday, like the 4th?
Well, John was not available.
Oh, sorry.
David Hoffman's not available the first week of December.
So the 29th, is that what you're talking about, Jeff?
28th, 29th, I mean, anytime that weekend.
Your preference? Doesn't matter.
28th works better for me.
28th?
I'm on the canal that day, so.
So November 20,
5? Is that what we're doing?
11/28 at 5 p.m.
Obviously, this is a public meeting, so anybody's welcome to be here.
Yeah, we'll have to advertise for it, so.
Does that make any difference that 62 is the US route compared to state routes?
No, the prima facie, as long as it's, US 62, but State Route 83, the prima facie speed limit law applies to the state routes. Does not apply to the US routes.
Anything else?
The only other thing I'll mention is that I attended at 5 o'clock a Holmes County Bicentennial meeting at the chamber, so I think you'll be hearing more about that coming up. I think the push is for each community to have some sort of part in a greater celebration. A lot of details to be hammered out yet. Melissa's involved with it, so if you have questions, ask her. She's the chairman.
You're quick to push that chairperson part out
Yep.
there.
I think that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait a minute.
for him, the administrator. Any updates on them repairing sidewalks, especially around the school?
All the gas companies,
yeah.
no, I don't have any
'Cause
updates.
if we get snow this year, you know, what they have is not gonna be very kind to try to,
They've got
Clear.
a lot of sidewalk torn up right now, all
And-
over town.
And the steel plates on the roads aren't gonna help either.
Yeah. I'll reach out again.
Karen,
You should have received the October financial statement, and there's the acknowledgement sheet that you did receive that. Just wanted to let you know, we did the required annual transfers between the water and sewer funds to the water R&I and sewer R&I funds. Those aren't done with an ordinance. That was based on the state auditors. Since it's basically enterprise funds, we don't need an official ordinance, so we just do that once a year. And those are done because of prior ordinances that were passed. The water was passed in 1984 and the sewer was passed in 1980. So it was $7,500 from the water to the water R&I and $10,000 from the sewer to the sewer R&I. So I just wanted to let you know those are completed. The Tree City renewal application for this year, we submitted. We have not heard back yet. Typically, that'll take anywhere from a month to 3 months whenever we get the information back. I don't see any problems with it. The economic development grant applications, I think Bobby emailed those to you. Those were submitted for 2024. And those just basically take council approval if you're agreeing with what they have submitted, because those funds are dispersed according to a prior ordinance, so. You guys had a chance to look at them, have any questions on them?
I had a couple questions about HDM's application with their social media. We have, Judy, can you answer that? I heard through the grapevine that your website got hacked, but there wasn't anything on Facebook or on Instagram about the Christmas open house and the chocolate walk. There wasn't anything.
Meta has taken us down completely.
please approach the mic.
You go answer it, 'cause I'm not going that way. Okay, I'll whisper.
Jason Hall with HDM, or whatever. So, when was it, October, our financials got hacked, we had to shut down credit card, we had to shut down other things, as well as our social media sites got hacked into. They've shut down, we're currently still working to get with Meta, is Meta the one we had to work with most to get back? And we have not got everything set up yet in that. Judy is working that on a daily basis, to try to figure that out, but it's tough when you're dealing with a large organization. So, we will continue and do our best to get that up and running soon. Because, we do recognize that social media is the #1 way to reach people.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, that situation happened at the wrong time, our busiest time of the year, and it hit us. So hopefully, get it up and renewed, we can move forward and get it going through the Christmas season. So,
Do you guys have do you guys have numbers like foot traffic through doors versus profit versus sales? Do you guys collect that kind of data on businesses in the downtown?
we do not collect that kind of data.
You do not.
We do not. And that's something that could be a discussion and something we could talk about. And it takes cooperation with the merchants and, everybody else to get that done.
Yeah. I just wondered if, because I feel like having that data would be a good way to gauge, the different things that are being done. So for example, Boo in the Berg, the wine and beer, fabulous success, but it's from 6 to 9 and all the businesses are closed. So while that's a great success for HDM, it's not necessarily a success for the downtown businesses. So I was just wondering if you guys gauge if you have any kind of, how your activities are boosting sales in the downtown. Do you have anything like that?
Yeah, you know, I think if you're looking at Boo and the Berg and specific things, I think it would be more hotel related.
Okay.
Food related.
Food, okay.
Be more the after hour people trying to get them to come into town and stay.
And stay, okay.
You know, I would think some of the other events we do, like, the chocolate walk that was just this week, that would be more hitting all the merchants because they should be open.
Right.
You know.
Getting people
going
into the
in and
doors.
out, moving back and forth. So I think you have kind of your events hit different aspects on that. And I think we're always open too for new events, so if someone has some ideas, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah,
We'd love to hear it.
yeah.
I know that the chamber did boost through Facebook, learning
Yeah.
all these things. The chamber did boost the chocolate walk.
Because they knew you guys' sites were
Because,
down?
yes, Judy
Okay,
contacted them and they did
That's
that
good.
boost for us, and we're paying them for that.
okay.
The chamber also, did they get or are they getting, they can take the pings from the cell phone towers and know where the people are from and where
Right.
they're going in our town. So that you can either go and advertise then to different areas that aren't coming into the town or advertising harder on the areas that are coming
That are,
into town.
Yeah,
I'm learning so much with
That's
all of
called
this
like
because,
Place Array out.
yeah,
yes, yeah, so I know the chamber is getting that. And
okay,
that's things that we're working with the chamber to get those things and get more information without actually having physical number dollars.
Number, right.
If the businesses don't wanna give us that.
yeah. Well, and that's a lot of work to try and figure out how many people you have coming through the door when you're worried about sales and all of the other things
Right,
that people are doing throughout the day. I
And
get
if
that.
we can get them and advertise them to come into the town, you know, it is the businesses to boost their sales and their numbers or what they're doing for Girls Night Out or for the Kids Night.
Yeah,
You know, they have to
yeah,
boost those things as well too.
that's good,
And
that's good.
there is a merchant meeting once a month where those would be some good topics to have discussion about with the foot traffic and marketing and some of
And-
that stuff.
yeah.
So that may be something that we would have conversation with in those meetings. So, trying to get them more on board, you know, and willing to give us that information.
Yeah.
Assuming they have it, but I don't know.
I know that in big cities, some of them have actual like mats that track foot traffic in and out the door. I don't
I
know,
have no idea.
you know, I don't know if our businesses have that, but it's just,
The one thing too with
A
the
thought.
local businesses in town here, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, there's a couple business owners here now. They are small businesses and
Yeah.
they are the livelihood, so, you know, they don't have a lot of extra money to throw out, to do this and to do
Right.
that. And then that's where the HDM comes in to kind of step in and help them, with that. And, you know, I wouldn't want to put any more economic pressure on them.
yeah, right.
But if they have the ability to do it, I think it would be a very, very good source of information.
Yeah, I think so too.
You know, everybody's talking about the social media, which I'm an old person. I'm not too much into it. I mean, I don't know how much you get on the radio. I know Kevin has got, limitations what he can get in the paper about some of these activities. Oh, yeah.
Were any of the events put on the Chamber of Commerce, on the thing up there, because I looked at
That's a private,
That's CSB.
that's
that.
CSP.
CSB.
Yes, when it's not already taken, they are put on there.
I had a question if I could. So, I've talked to you. Why, it's for you guys. So my understanding was, I can't come to an HDM meeting unless I join. So for people who have questions about all this, you said that the meetings are, a certain day, but I have to join. A public person cannot come to an HDM meeting, which, when I asked her why that is that, she said, well, there's things that we don't want getting out there, but how would
No, that's not how I meant it at all.
Well, that's how I took it.
No.
Is
I
that,
don't answer that.
you
I've
really
been
should
losing,
come up here.
I've been losing my voice, that's why I didn't come up there. Yeah. Not that we don't want people to know, but there has to be some benefit of being a member of HDM. And a lot of that is the members themselves have the opportunity to change an event if they don't like something. For instance, the chocolate walk. One year we did it 2 days. Well, it about killed a couple of the merchants. They were exhausted. And they asked never to have it 2 days again. That's their prerogative as a merchant and as a member to make those changes to events. So that's what was more, I mean, and yes, if you are not a member, then you shouldn't come to the meetings. Does that answer your question?
Well,
Or did I
he
skip
said,
over it
well,
somehow?
I mean, when I asked you about being able to find out the meetings, and you said to me that the reason that somebody off the street can't just come to an HDM meeting is there were concerns about things that you didn't want getting out there. That was what was said to me.
That's not how I meant it at all. I don't care what you know about our HDM meeting. They're
So I'm
open.
good, I told you I was gonna join, so I could find out more about what's being
Yeah.
discussed.
That's fine.
But not every, you have to join to be there to find out what's being discussed.
Yes,
Okay.
Those are the merchant meetings, is that what?
yes, merchant meetings.
So it's not open to the public.
Oh,
I've got a question for Karen. Can we, as a council, join?
Nate is on our board.
Yeah, but
I'm an advisor, like, I don't vote on anything, but I go to the meetings when I can as like an advisor.
You're our liaison.
Liaison, yeah.
Yes,
Right,
which there should be a representative from the council.
correct.
Well, I'll be joining.
Yeah, correct. So, I just had some questions because $90,000 of ed tax money is a lot, but it's for the promotion of the entire downtown. And I think that everybody needs and should know, you know, that it's going for social media, what it's going for, so that everybody, we just want to be transparent and let everybody know these are the ways that this money is being spent. I just think everybody should know.
Yeah, I think from our side, maybe we'll look at doing better and reporting maybe of what
Okay.
we're doing with it.
Yeah,
And that's something that we can look at, that maybe we can try to improve on, to make, whether it's an annual review, and an annual report, or a semi-annual report, that we can kind of put together, or something like that, that we can pass out to the merchants, to the council.
yeah. And then all the merchants will know what you guys are doing to promote. I think that's a great thing.
I think we need some time to kind of put all
Yeah.
that stuff together, but I think it's an opportunity. I think as the council goes, I think kind of stating that, you know, HCM is, I think, helping and doing some good. You know, that grant
Yeah.
money is increasing.
Yeah,
You know, that means we
Right.
have more people coming into town, more people staying in town.
right,
So that's what we want.
yeah.
And you were talking about different things like Blue and the Bird Knot. That one is set aside to raise money to put back into marketing, and also to put heads in beds and the restaurants. Turn around in the next event is not necessarily for put heads in beds, but it's to make sure the merchants.
Right,
What we're trying to do to help that a little bit is, if someone came to Boo and Bird, and stayed the night, they brought us their receipt, they got their ticket free. So they didn't get both tickets, they got one ticket. So that helps to, we just started that, so we're just now starting to pull in some numbers.
yeah,
Boo and the Bird, we had 14 people staying in hotels. We'll increase that, but that's still a significant number that just came for that event.
yeah.
Tomorrow I have a meeting with Ohio Magazine. You know, you even look at Ohio Magazine, it costs you 20 grand. So those things that we want to do so badly because their reach is so massive, takes a huge chunk out of that
Yeah,
$90,000. You know, so it starts, when you hit those bigger pieces, you start taking bigger chunks out of that budget real fast.
yeah,
Like the Santa for the kids' night, we don't advertise that or lose that anywhere outside of Holmes County, because that's for
our kids.
That's for our kids.
Right,
And if you haven't been out on the street or drive through town when that's going on, you need to, because there's tons of kids.
yeah,
I mean,
They love
I
it.
get to be zipping up the inflatable balloon thing again for the kids to go in and out to get pictures. thanks Judy. But just watching the streets and the kids,
Yeah.
that's just fun.
No, and I think it's good to have multifaceted, because we have a lot of people that are getting into the Airbnb market here, and so, you know, we're helping them, we're helping our businesses, I think it's good to be multifaceted with all of the events. I think that's good.
Event center possibly coming here in the near future. I mean, there's a lot of good things going on.
Yeah.
A lot of things happening. Our buildings are pretty much full, you know, and hopefully we can keep the momentum going. So.
We buy a lot, the Chamber of Commerce, Visitor's Guide, 350,000 of those printed a year. We always buy the back page. That focuses on the town. They didn't sell the spread that goes into hotel motels, so we got a chance to purchase that also. That focuses directly to hotels. So that 2-page spread, and we all know if people stay in hotels, they spend more money everywhere. So that's a big push for us, is those hotels. And like I said, Berlin Graham tried to buy the back page from me and I wouldn't sell it to him. But we figure that we advertise over 1 million pieces, easy, a year, in print. And that's just print.
Thank you for coming and explaining all of that.
No
I
problem.
appreciate that. Yeah, I
Do you have any
appreciate
other
that. Thank you.
questions? Anybody?
I do, yes, sir. So.
Can you please step up to the mic, sir?
So Shane Coltis, I do not live in the village, but we have a business here in the village, a couple different locations. And we're getting ready to open up a bed and breakfast, it's gonna be bed tax money in, et cetera. But here's the deal. So we were a member of the historic downtown Millersburg initially. We paid our money, we did all the things, went to the meetings, brought advice, and, you know, as a business, we brought some ideas to the conversation. And then for roughly 6 months, or 7 months maybe even, we were told, well, we're trying to get you on the website, okay? We're trying to get you input in that position. As a member, my expectations are I'd be treated just the same as every other member, and then we had new businesses coming into it that were immediately put on the website. And so I asked, well, you know what, since I'm not getting any value out of this, I don't want to be a member anymore, okay? Because I'm a Berlin Main Street merchant member for life, and I get more value out of that 1,000 times over than I ever would out of historic downtown Millersburg, okay? And if you read the charter, or just their website alone, it really doesn't focus on downtown business. It really doesn't say anything about that. Bringing equity to the downtown businesses as much as it does keeping the village historic, okay? I mean, you gotta read between the lines, you can't just read it prima facie for what it says. And so, then it took me 3 months to even get a reimbursement for my membership fee. So I'm curious as to how things are ran and who holds those people accountable for that. Even if the board member needs to have an idea if that stuff kind of goes on, because I feel like as a member, a former member, representation is important, right? And so we only have one member on the board of directors that's actually a business owner, and she's not even here tonight, that's Sue Steele. And so where does the voice of the businesses come into play with that? When you have everybody that sits on the board are bankers or attorneys, okay? They're making their money, it's not from the downtown businesses having people walk through the front door, all right? They're making their money from the downtown businesses doing business with them. And so I guess that's my concern. My concern is when we're giving that much money away, how is it being used? And is there value in it to everybody involved? And where do the people have an opportunity to voice their opinions about things? Because if it's done at HCM meetings, you have to be a member, right? But some businesses, smaller businesses they were discussing in town here may not be able to pay the fee to be a member, right? So when do they get a voice? How are they getting heard, right? So there should be a plan for them as well, for all the inclusion of business. It shouldn't just be limited to those who can join, okay? Because if people are paying money here to open up a business and take that big of a risk, and you know, to do business here in Millersburg or whatever, I think it's important that everybody understands that they should have a voice in whatever happens as well. They're paying taxes, and that's the limited amount of minuscule things that people should be asking for. And as a council, I mean, you should represent the people that you, you know, have been elected by, to ensure that the people that are doing business in town are being represented properly. I don't care about banks, and, you know, those people are fine, okay? Attorneys, they're fine. They're gonna get paid no matter what. But a lot of these guys who do business in downtown, I mean, they're suffering. You know, I see it, I hear it from people. And so those are things I would probably address. So that's just my question.
I want to address one thing with the banks. I know Phillips Bank, CSB, First Knox, we are $5,000 scholarship. We invest $5,000 yearly into HDM, and we're not getting anything out of it, and we're sitting on the board and putting our time investing into it as well. You know, the businesses can be $300 for the yearly, $250 for the yearly memberships. And they're the ones getting the advertisement out of it. So I just want to kind of make that known that we are putting a lot of skin in the game, even though we're not in it to make the business and get the people in here for the town. I don't know anything that happened with that situation, and I'm sorry about that. I am the president currently, and I don't know what happened with that situation. I can check into it.
It doesn't matter. It's over.
Yeah, you brought it up, so we need
So-
to make sure
so
that
here
we
we're
have
at-
our take.
We'll address it.
Details.
All right. The details are, it's really simple. So when you try to get a hold of somebody, you're not getting a call back, okay? And then that you're told, I'm gonna get to that. And then you don't get to it, all right? That's just not responsible business ethics. That's not how you should be doing things. And so I spend my time each and every day. I have multiple employees that work in the county. I have locations on the other side of the county, right? I have to be responsible to those people. You know, if I'm not responsible to those people, the same thing applies. Well, when you join something or you're a part of something, it's the same ethical, moral standard that you should be thinking about when you're doing anything with business. If you're asking these people to join your organization and you pay them money, do what you say you're gonna do, all right? Don't drop the ball on them, okay? Because what kind of message does that send to everybody else? And then, if you don't come there, and somebody sits in a meeting, they say something derogatory about you because you no longer choose to be a member of that organization, all right? Then there's nobody there to speak up for that particular person, all right? And that stuff shouldn't even be discussed in those meetings. If there's an issue, that should be something done face to face, okay? And so my point with that is the ball was dropped. I was patient, waited months, okay? And I'm not worried about the money. That's not the biggest issue. The issue is how it was dealt with, okay? And that's a standard issue, all right? That's an expectation issue. So you should expect that out of the people that are managing these organizations, that they're gonna do it properly. That's all I'm saying. So I hope that clears that up.
Thank you for everyone's comments in regards to HDM. But I would like to point out, HDM is a separate organization of this, and is not part of this village. It is run by its own board of directors. As you mentioned, you got the current president of the board sitting here. I don't know who was president at the time that you were having these issues. I don't know if you contacted the president at that time. I don't know, and we're not gonna get into that. All I just wanna make a point is, they are a separate organization. We do fund the organization through bed tax dollars. We hold the board accountable to spend that money wisely. If there is issues, it needs to be taken up with that board itself. Yes, ma'am.
And I want to address what you just said about it being separate, because it got to me over the weekend that at an HDM meeting, Kelly and I were talked about that concerning that I can't think for myself when I'm eventually on here, and talked about that she's gonna take away their bed tax money. So you can separate that from you, but the talking about was done about us, who eventually I'll be sitting there, and eventually she'll be sitting there. So if you wanna separate it, then her and I should not have been discussed at it. I'm not even on council.
I understand.
Okay, so that's what got this ball rolling, as I wanted to understand HDM better. I don't know, the other people that showed up, I don't know how they got here. Judy and I talked, And I called her out on that when that got back to me. I was bad-mouthed at an HDM meeting. So I will be at the and I called a board member. I talked to him today. So, you want to separate it, fine. Her and I should not have been bad-mouthed. And I think an apology is due.
I will apologize to you publicly if that's what you want, but there was no bad mouthing at all. We discussed what would happen if Kelly had made the comments about the marketing and different things. We discussed the fact that it's the merchants' marketing money. They need to be the ones that are aware of it. We wanted to be, they all were aware of it because I didn't have Facebook. I couldn't even see it. They called me and told me. But there was no bad mouthing at all. Nobody called anybody mean, ugly, didn't question you at all. So there was not any bad mouthing. Robin was at the meeting, and so I don't know where this all came from.
Well, you told me.
I told you that one person made some kind of comment. I couldn't tell you who it was because the whole room was talking. One person made a comment. They hoped you didn't vote the way Kelly wanted you to. Actually, that wasn't the comment. No, that wasn't the comment. They said, we hope that they don't vote together. And I said, well, they can't vote together because if Kelly gets mayor, she doesn't vote.
Right.
So that was the first thing that was wrong. But we never, ever talked badly about either one of them. It was a discussion, and it wasn't meant to be degrading or question. It was just informational. That was it. That's all it was meant to be.
So I got the information.
Okay, any other visitors wish to address comments? Or wish to address this? All right, if not, may we move on? Do we have a motion to accept the 2024 grant applications as presented?
I will make a motion to accept.
Second.
Coffee,
Aye.
Vaughn,
Aye.
Poland. Hofstadter,
Aye.
Shoemaker,
Aye.
Khan.
Aye.
Thank you. Next item, Karen.
The draft of the 2024 appropriations I had sent out to you the other day, and they are very, very draft. So I kind of wanted to see, for you to see where we're at this point. We can't finish them and put final numbers to each fund until you decide what you're doing on the payroll resolution for next year, which I anticipate talking about probably in executive session for wages, so. At this point, though, does anybody have any questions on what was sent to you? Like I said, they're very draft, they're very, very preliminary, so. Basically, these were based off of the budget that we passed in July. Bobby sat down and went through where we were at year-to-date on current expenditures, and then I reviewed those with her. We did change some things, for instance, electric. We didn't appropriate enough, say, in the water fund, so we increased that. Those types of things. We didn't change any of the capital items that were listed in the budget, so.
Nate, where is the new building going to go, the open?
We talked about the north side of the parking lot of the street department.
Okay.
Just
This,
Where the tile and stuff is now.
where the pipe and everything
Oh.
sits.
Okay.
Place to get like the leaf machines, the sewer jetter, different equipment out of the weather, generator.
Okay. And what would it cost? I see that we keep doing the radio reads for the meters. What would it cost to do the entire village? I mean, I don't know how many years it's going to take at what we're spending each year.
I don't have a good number off the top of my head of how many there are. Average around $200 a piece, and 1,300 taps total. But we've done, I don't know how many. You know, we've been doing that for quite a few years. So I don't know.
I'm just wondering if it would be beneficial to you guys to have the money to do it all at once, or do you prefer to do it year by year in smaller chunks?
It would save a lot of labor costs with reading the meters, that's the goal. Once we're to radio reads everywhere, then you could throw the reader in the truck on a normal work order route and have the meters read versus a guy, one man, all day for a week reading meters. I could try to figure out how many we have outstanding yet that aren't radio reads.
Okay, I'd just be curious to know if that's something that we'd be interested in doing in one fell swoop instead of
Okay.
little bites at a time.
Any other questions on the draft? Karen, do you have anything else?
No, just, so once you guys decide what you're doing for next year's personnel, we'll put those numbers to this and then probably have the formal appropriation, it's a legal document, at the next meeting. If you choose to, you can not have the first reading of it next meeting if you have more questions or you want something changed. But by doing it first reading next meeting, you'll have 3 readings before the end of the year to pass the appropriations. If you don't want to do that next meeting, you want some more time to review it, my suggestion would be to have the first reading, the first meeting in December then, and then suspend the second reading and pass it on the last meeting of the year. Yeah, so just information. That's all I have, thank you.
Thank you. All right, second reading of ordinance 2023-105. An ordinance consenting to ODOT maintenance and snow removal agreement with the Village of Millersburg. Are there any questions? First reading resolution 2023-27 by title only. A resolution authorizing transfer of sums from the general fund to the street maintenance and repair fund, to the cemetery operating fund, to the police disability and pension fund, to the water enterprise improvement fund, to the sewer enterprise improvement fund. Are there any questions? May we have a motion to suspend the second, third reading?
So moved.
I'll second.
Hofstadter?
Aye.
Shoemaker?
Aye.
Vaughn?
Aye.
Coffee?
Aye.
Khan?
Aye.
Poland?
May we have a motion to pass?
I'll second.
Poland? Coffee?
Aye.
Hofstadter?
Aye.
Shoemaker?
Aye.
Khan?
Aye.
Vaughn?
Aye.
Thank you. Any committee reports? Old business. I believe you guys want to discuss Mr. Hines' contract. I believe everyone got a new draft contract from him, setting a limit of 18 hours per month.
I had talked to Kelly also about, she said, well, what sort of a reason might there be that something couldn't wait until the next month in order to perform the legal service? And the thing that comes to mind is occasionally, and not very often, but occasionally, the police department will have a personnel issue that time is of the essence and it needs to be done right away. So that might be an example of something that I guess the way the new contract is written up, that Matt could say, you know, this is #1 priority. You need to keep working on this throughout the rest of the month.
The other thing that Bob and I talked about that I wanted to let Devon and Brad both know is in the village handbook, we can meet with a 12-hour notice. We don't have to wait until the next council meeting. Legally, if we have a 12-hour notice, we can meet at any time. So Bob and I discussed that as well. He said it's never happened, but it is an option if the emergency is such that we need to meet.
Any other questions? Do we have a motion to proceed with the new contract as per state presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the contract.
Second.
So we got contract as amended? Because you already approved
this-
it.
Yeah, I think I'd call it revised,
Okay,
revised contract for legal services.
okay.
So this is approving the revisions,
This- one that
not the
you currently have.
contract,
Yeah.
correct?
Khan,
Aye.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Poland. Aye. Hofstadter,
Aye.
Shoemaker,
Aye.
Coffee.
Aye.
Thank you. Any other old business? New business?
I have something for new business. Nate, I wanted to tell you that Lisa Ann Simpson and her neighbor's yards got torn up. And they just put a bunch of straw on there, but it's bad, rocks and ruts.
I talked to her, she had emailed me about that, and I told her the plan is to let it settle over winter, and then in the spring we'll come in, rake it out,
And
topsoil,
flatten it up.
seed it.
Okay, good.
Any other new business? Any visitors wish to address council? If not, may we have a motion to go into executive session to consider the compensation of public employees and the appointment of a public employee?
Second.
Poland. Aye. Hofstadter,
Aye.
Shoemaker,
Aye.
Khan,
Aye.
Coffee,
Aye.
Vaughn.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good Thanksgiving.